Warning, they just rolled out a shocking new control system, and this is one that we were all dreading because this system is the pilot case, and they're very, very clear about this. This is the pilot case for which more is going to be coming. It's actually so crazy, although if you're new here, this may be quite shocking for you to hear, but if you're a regular subscriber, we've been talking about this for many, many years, ever since the original documentation was published. What am I talking about here? Let me show you the headline. Labour has now opened the door to Stalinist 15-minute cities right across Britain. This is so severe that it's hard to even know where to begin with this. But let me go through some of the key things. So the traffic restrictions for motorists is supposed to promote walking and cycling in city centres in line with net zero and the UN policy to stop global warming. Well, I don't know about you, but where you are right now, but the USA is having the worst storm in over 4 decades. You look in a lot of European places, a lot of you leave comments all the time saying it is getting colder and colder, the winters are getting more freezing. There's a lot of reports, a lot of climate scientists have been coming out saying things are getting colder, and we were told the complete opposite. Of course, we've known for a long time, after the financial investigations which I've done on this, that you've always got to follow the money. And wherever the money is funding scientists and things like that, just be, take it with a grain of salt is what I would say. That's half the new people going, oh, this guy's a tinfoil hat guy. But everyone else who's been following here for a while follows the investigations and follows the money, and they understand. So let me go through the details then. Labour have approved a rollout now of these 15-minute cities across the United Kingdom. This is going to be the first of many, and ministers have said they're going to allow councils, we'll get to this point and we'll link it in a moment, to use the driver licence database to impose fines on drivers who fall foul of these new zones, which restrict driving in certain areas. So it's going to be Oxford City Council is going to be the first pilot case here. And what they're basically doing is they're taking the city and they're dividing it, think of it like a pie chart, and they're dividing it into 6 sections. And then, some of the measures they're talking about are wild. So it's not like you can just drive from here across to here. Some of it they're talking about, you've got these permits in each zone if you don't have permission to go into that zone. And you've got to bear in mind, what they're launching now is just the beginning. And in fact, let me just show you another thing, because before we get into the whole story here, if you didn't see this, I actually talked about Oxford back in, this was April 15th, 2024. Let me play you a tiny clip of this.
Example which many of you will remember I talked about on the channel a while ago, and that is the city of Oxford in England. Now we need to go back to 2022 when they launched their LTN, their low traffic neighborhoods, because there's a big difference between concept and reality, as they found out, the residents did the hard way. So you had a number of residents were really for this, pushing it hard, restricting motorized vehicles from certain roads at certain times. There were cameras and bollards and all sorts of, the whole thing was quite crazy. So the people, this is where the irony comes in, the people who were pushing so hard for these schemes were some of the exact same people that were then trying to appeal to remove the schemes that they voted for in the first place. And it only got...
Now, it was... Come back to the main here. Now, if you remember that, I don't know if you ever saw that piece that I did, and that was the second part. The first part came out in 2020, 2021, where I talked about this. The reality was very different to what a lot of these people thought would happen. Some of these people that voted it in were the ones that were on the streets with the placards and billboards trying to get it out, because they couldn't take their kids to school. if there was hospital appointments, this was a big one. They were told that they weren't kind of bollards, but they were blocking people and stopping people from going over different areas. So if you'd use your number of tickets or permits, as they were calling them, then you could get a fine and all this other stuff. So it was what they thought in theory was going to be a great scheme turned into a complete nightmare. And this all went into the paper that went to the Labour government. In fact, sorry, it was the Tory, the Conservative government it went to. And at that point, not that I'm a huge fan of the last government at all, but fair play to them. They looked at it and they said, this is a disaster, this is a nightmare, it's never going to work, and some councils are going to weaponize it against the residents. So fair play to them, they did quash it and said it would never happen. But then comes in the Labour government, who decide, actually, we're going to run with this, we're going to take it forward, and we're going to give it to all of these cities, these different cities. Now, this is where I'm going to link it to what I talked about the other day. What did we discuss on was it the Friday Walk and Talk, I think it was? And that was the 29 councils that have now blocked elections in May. So in just, where are we? We're not far off, a few months off now, 3 to 4 months off now, these elections in May that have been blocked. Now then, you guys are smart people. You're all pretty smart on this channel that follow. If you actually look at the areas that they want to do these new zones, and you look at the elections that are cancelled, isn't that interesting how many of them overlap? How many of them are these Labour councils as well? So this goes a lot deeper. And by the way, if you're brand new here, please consider subscribing. I talk about crazy stuff like this all the time. No, not usually crazy stuff. It's kind of quite rational and logical. Economics, geopolitics, finance, all the things that are important to you, protecting you, your family, and your finances. So if that sounds good, please subscribe to the channel here. Now, I want to carry on going through a few of these points then. They said that this is based on the idea that a person can access all the amenities they need within just a quarter of an hour by walking or cycling. And this could result in restrictions being brought in for drivers. Now, they've already said they don't actually want cars on the road. They've said this already for a long time. And of course, what I discussed was, what about rural areas? Okay, fine, right in these city centres in urban areas. Okay, I can see some regions not having cars. You can kind of see it, but at the same time, how are you going to deliver stuff to shops and all this other stuff? It's very complex. Now, they've said that they are going to divide Oxford into 6 15-minute neighbourhoods, and you're only allowed 100 days of free travel per year through these 6 traffic filters during operating hours. Meanwhile, a separate permit allows 25 days of free travel per year through these zones. After this, you will face severe penalties because you will not, it says it in black and white, you will not have the relevant permission. Greg Smith, the Shadow Transport Minister, said this is the blueprint for a national rollout. Labour has been given the green light for draconian councils like Oxfordshire to police how people live, move and drive using cameras and fines backed by DVLA data. He said Oxford is the test case, but this is the blueprint for the entire country. Duncan White from the Alliance of British Drivers said this is an abomination. He said it's perverse and Stalinist approach to social control, adding it's an encroachment on civil liberties and it's a page out of East Germany playbook. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll be scanning the comments as we go here, but I wanted to show you something else that this reminded me of. Some of you will know I've spoken about this movie a few times before, and I can only play a tiny clip or I'll get a strike here. So this is called In Time. It's a movie, gosh, I'm getting old. It came out in 2011. I felt like it was just yesterday. And what they did was this, and I talked about this and said, you'll see this in the UK at some point.
We don't normally make pickups in this zone.
I was lost.
And then what happens is he goes through each zone.
Please deposit 1 month.
There you go. What's that? It's the chip in the wrist. I mean, we could go on and on. I can't play much of this, though, or else I'll get a copyright strike, and then I can get a 1-week ban, and you can get all these other annoying things. But you get the idea here. And as he's going through, there's different zones, and then you've got these chips in your wrist, and the chips have your allocations and all this other stuff. And it's just weird in my mind how all of these movies eventually come true. But it's crazy, some of the stuff that's going on right now. It really is. Let's see what some of the other comments then. Okay, we actually got a map here if you'd like to see the map that they're going to be putting in. So this is it here. This is Oxfordshire, the red box here, the tiny little box. But you can see these are the areas where they're going to be putting in these zones. And we've got a few more comments. Let's go through these other comments here. It's said that a lot more councils are already looking to follow Oxford's leads, and they're even now starting to do a crackdown on parking spaces. So they're reducing the number of parking spaces within city centres. And you're seeing this as well when they do these renovations. They remove the parking spaces. This is deliberate. So even if you did have a car and you want to go into the town centre, you probably can't anyway because there's nowhere to park. This doesn't actually make things more efficient if you think about it. So I remember I went to a city once, and I used to go there quite a lot when I lived not too far away, let's just say. And I remember that they did this thing called a park and ride on the bus or something or other. And it sounds good in theory, but this bus only came every 25 minutes. So if you get there and the bus has just gone, you've got to sit there now for 25 minutes. And the bus, the bus will take you in, but it never takes you exactly where you want to go. So then you have to get off, you have to walk 15 minutes. So are you really saving a lot of time? Not really. That's potentially 40 minutes that you've lost. And then going back, you're going to lose at least 15 minutes, if not 20 minutes. So there's an hour. Now, some of us are busy people. Okay, I know a lot of you that watch are retired, but there's a lot of people, we still work, we're busy people, children, kids have got all these activities and sports. You might be taking them to whatever sport they're doing. It's busy, and if you've got 2 or 3 kids and they've each got a different activity and you need to get into town or whatever, it gets really crazy. So they think this is going to solve everyone's problem, but it won't. It's not going to solve the problem. Okay, the comments are blowing up on this live stream. It is on fire here. They also said implementing traffic filters and other traffic management measures is a local authority matter. This is from the government, by the way. And the government has no plans to get involved in the rollout of these schemes. This is a lie. Let me just show you this in black and white so you can see it. This is an absolute lie, because you know that they are actually sending this out to the councils. It's all planned. They're planning this whole thing. And you remember this, they actually did a survey of this. This is an older article that I've archived here and saved. In a survey of 2,118 people by the Electoral Calculus, 57% said Parliament, councils and mayors, key one here, if you know about the mayors, should not set rules that make car owners drive less. 51% said politicians are making life too difficult for motorists and oppose measures such as LTNs, low traffic something or other, low emission zones, curbs on car parking spaces, and congestion charging. I love it when they do these articles and they just expect you to know what all of their abbreviations mean. Someone drop it in the comment. Something like low traffic neighborhoods, probably, I think is what it is. But we had this, right? We've had all this. We've known for a long time. All the polls were done, all the surveys were done, and yet what happens? They never do what the people want. Never. They just do it anyway. So this is the plan. And remember, we've talked about all the emission zones, and we did London, and we did all these other ones. And I did the investigation into where the money goes that you pay into these things. Into the mayor's fund, into Sadiq Khan's fund. Where does that go? My FOI request was declined, my Freedom of Information request, which is legal legally binding, whatever you want to say, was declined. They wouldn't say where the money goes once it goes into this fund. See, this is what we're dealing with, ladies and gents. This is what we're dealing with. And I think people are getting fed up of all of this stuff. They really are. And one last thing I'll say, I've left some links in the description below. A lot of you over the weekend were on the webinar. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. I'm going to be doing more webinars to help you with your finances at the moment. It's one of the big ones we're focusing on because of what's happening. I mean, 25% loss in currency, currency depreciation just in the last 5 years now. So I kind of identified that's a big one a lot of people want to a cure to. So we'll do another training webinar shortly, but you can look at the links below in the description. We'll do one for stock market investing. We'll also do one with gold and silver. Okay, and I'm expecting some apologies today on gold and silver after I was called crazy, lunatic, all sorts of grifter, say all sorts of things for saying that gold and silver was going to hit $100 plus. It has. Okay, so we are there, and it got there very fast indeed, again. So there we go. Thanks for being a subscriber here. If you're not, you know what to do. Click the button. Appreciate you all. Take care. God bless. And I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.